In all our previous sessions, we have designed so many finite automata, written so many regular expressions equivalent to the finite automata, and now with the proficiency of that, if I give you any language, let's say 010 or a pattern of this kind, triple A, triple B, anything. So, can you able to confidently say that you can draw a finite automata? Yes, it's a bit confusing how to decide whether given a language is it possible to design a finite automata or not. So there exists a very important concept which is pumping lemma. Let's take a quicker informal introduction to introduce the concept. So this is row of houses. Daily morning a guy used to deliver newspaper to all the houses on the street. He will enter, he will drop the newspaper to the first house, move on to the second, third and finally he will leave out. N number of newspaper he is having, n number of houses is there. After delivering one newspaper to each and every house, the number of newspaper left out at his hand will be 0. In other case, if the number of newspaper is greater than the number of houses, you have m number of newspapers at your hand and you have only n houses where n is less than m. So how many will be left out? Yeah, it is m minus n newspaper will be in the hands after he moves out. If his manager is insisting to deliver all the newspapers without taking not even one single one while he leaves out, what is the possibility that this guy can adopt? Yes, the remaining m minus 1 newspapers have to be delivered back to this n houses. So some of the houses may get more than one newspaper. Some of the houses will get one newspaper. That's the strategy. On the roadside in trees, we could have seen this kind of holes. The purpose is for the birds to stay. Assume there are 6 different holes. How many birds can stay here? Yes, of course, 6 birds. Assuming that in one hole, one bird can stay. If 2 more birds are joining them, what to do? One is, if you feel like one hole is able to hold only one bird, then these 2 birds will be moved out or stripped off. Or if you feel like one hole can able to hold more than one bird, then okay, in any of the available 6 holes, any two among the 6 holes will have more than one bird within it. This principle is what we call as pigeon hole principle. If you have n holes, if you have n pigeons, one hole will have one pigeon. In the other case, if you have n holes and if you have m pigeons, with the condition that m is greater than n, at least one hole will have more than one pigeon. It's a fact, right? So that's what is pigeonhole principle. Assuming some of the houses in this particular street are supplied with more than one newspaper, we can always divide the set of houses in the street into 3 groups. The first part having one newspaper, the second part where more than one newspaper is being delivered, and the rest of the part where again one newspaper is being delivered. This could vary. Let's say if the first house is supplied with more than one newspaper, this first part, let me write it in a very generic format. X represents the prefix of the houses or the set of houses in which only one newspaper is being supplied. Y represents the set of houses in which more than one got supplied. And Z represents the set of houses in which again one newspaper got supplied. Either X could be equal to epsilon or Z could be equal to epsilon. But Y cannot be equal to epsilon because you should have at least one particular home supplied with more than one newspaper if the number of newspapers is more than the number of the houses. Similarly, you take this examples. When you have the number of pigeons greater than the number of holes, always one hole will have more than one pigeon. So, in this case also, it is possible for us to segregate this into 3 parts, X, Y and then Z. X, Y and then Z, where X is the part before repetition. Repetition I mean more than one storage. Y is the part having this repetition, having more than one pigeon. This is one pigeon. Z is the part again having one pigeon. Again, in this case also, X or Z may be equal to epsilon, but y at any cost cannot be equal to epsilon. Since y cannot be equal to epsilon, if you calculate the length of xy, it can never be equal to epsilon. So hope this is well understood. We'll move on to the mapping with the automata. Assume the holes represents the symbols on the edges and the pigeons represent the symbols in the input word. Okay, so we'll deal it with an example. I am drawing a DFA. Assume a finite automata of this kind where the holes represents the symbols on the edges A and B. And the pigeons represents the symbol on the input word. Let me take an input word to be AB initially. So how many number of pigeons are there in the word? The length of W is equal to 2. So how many number of states are there here? The number of states is equal to 3. We know that when the number of states are 3, what is the minimal length string that is permitted without repeating any state in this finite automata? Yes, it is only n minus 1. So when you take one string W is equal to AB, you can start with Q0, read the first symbol. You can make the pigeon A to reside in this hole by moving a state transition to Q1. Then the second symbol, which is the second pigeon, you can make it to reside in this hole moving the state transition to Q2. So you have 3 states, the length of the word is 2 and hence this is the minimal length word that is possible to be generated from this automata without repeating any state. Now if I am giving you a word W1 as AAB, what is the length of W1? 3. The number of states is equal to 3 and the length of the word is also 3. So what is the transition? How does it look like? From Q0, when you read the first A, again you should stay in Q0. Then you read the second A, again you should go to Q1. Then you read the third symbol B, you can go to Q2. In which case, this Q0 gets repeated like greater than one newspaper or greater than one pigeon in our case. Yes. So when the length of the word is equal to or greater than the number of states in your finite automata, there is a possibility for us to repeat a state. Or when the length of the word is greater than or equal to the number of states in your automata, it's the fact that at least one state should get repeated. So that is the concept we should clearly understood by using pigeonhole principle. Take the first automata. So what is the part before repetition? Yeah, it is a loop. So the part before looping is epsilon. So x is equal to epsilon. We don't have any part because Q0 is where we are trying to repeat. And then what is y? Which is the repeating part? Yes, you have Q0. Okay, so what is the repeating loop? You have a self loop. And what about Z? Z is nothing but the string AB. Okay, so which you are traversing from Q0 to Q2. Then if you come to the second part, the part before repetition. So what is the repetition here? Again on Q1 we have a loop A comma B. That is the repeating part. Before that we have X. So X is equal to the string A. Y is equal to ARB the whole star. Okay, which is a self loop on Q1, and then Z is equal to B, which is the part after your repetition. Similarly, when you come here, X is equal to X is equal to AB because this is the part before your repetition. Y is equal to ARB the whole star and Z is equal to epsilon. Okay. Assume this is a given DFA. Now what is X? See, this is a loop. There are two loops here. You can observe this is a self loop. And this is also another loop. Q1 to Q2, Q2 to Q1. This is also another loop. So this is X, this is Y and this is Z. So any part that is repeating wherein you can come and move out of the state more than once is said to be a repeating part. What have you understood by this? After dividing any word W into three parts X, Y and Z, if you feel like X, Y, Z is a part of language, so what is the string that this is generating? What is X, Y, Z? B, B. Okay, because Y repeats only once, so you will move here, that's it. Then X, Y power 2 Z. So if Y repeats twice, Okay, so x is A, Z is B. Okay, y will get repeated twice, meaning that this loop has to be traversed twice. So what is the string that we will get generated? The first possibility is B, A, B. Okay, so this is x, this is y, and this is z. And what is the third possibility? On the x, y squared, z also. What is the next possibility? You can also have strings of this kind. A, B, which is x, and which is z, and since there is a self loop, you can also reside here, and you can have AAB also instead of this. So twice you can stay here, and then you can go to Q2. Okay, so what we can infer from this, when XYZ is part of language, XY power something, so like it could be 2, 3, 4 or any infinite times, because it is not a restriction on how many times you can loop here. So when you have XYZ as part of a language, xy power I z is also part of the language, where I is equal to 1, 2 and so on up to n. Fine. And hence a pumping lemma can be formally defined like this. Let L be a regular language. When it is a regular language, there should exist a DFA. When there is exist a DFA, you can quantify the number of states, which is n. You take any word W whose length is greater than or equal to n. When the length of W is less than n, no issues. You won't have any repeating states on your transition. When you take any word whose length is greater than or equal to n, you should be able to divide the string into three parts, x, y and z, where y should not be equal to epsilon, that's what we have seen now, and modulo of xy should be less than or equal to n. And for all I greater than or equal to 0, xy power I z is also in L. So this is what is the formal definition of pumping lemma. We have seen how to segregate the W into x, y, z. We have learnt the reason for what y should not be equal to epsilon, and we have seen this part. Why modulo xy is less than or equal to n? Because either x or z could be epsilon, not both the cases. That's why it was written like this. How to check? First step, given a language L, if you want to check whether it is regular or not, assume L is regular. Then if L is regular, we know that there will exist a DFA D with n states. Pick a word W whose length is greater than or equal to n. Divide that W into x, y, z, satisfying the conditions of pumping lemma. All x, y power I z is a part of that language. If so, the language is regular. If not, L is not regular. That's all. We'll see some examples of how to do that in the next coming sessions. Thank you.